Listen closely, because what I'm about to say is not for the faint-hearted. This is for those who understand that the battlefield of respect and reputation is not won by silence or meek endurance. It is for the ones who rise, not quietly, but with the force of a tempest unleashed. You are not here to tiptoe around the shadows, nor to whisper apologies into the void. You are here because you did something that most wouldn't dare to imagine. You didn't just hold still in the storm of lies and deceit. You blasted their name to pieces. You shattered the facade, broke the illusion, and dismantled their fortress of falsehood with precision that left no room for doubt. This is a celebration of that fierce moment where you turn the tide, where the scales of power tipped irrevocably in your favor, and where you destroyed their credibility in one devastating move. Imagine the weight of every word, every accusation, every whisper meant to cage you in silence. They thought you would crumble, that the walls of deceit they built would stand firm against your truth. But no, you stepped forward with a resolve so cold and unyielding that it cut through their carefully constructed lies like a sharpened blade. This is not just about defending yourself. This is about reclaiming what was stolen, exposing the rot beneath the surface, and watching as their name, once spoken with confidence, now echoes hollow in the chambers of history. You are the force that fractured their narrative, the storm that uprooted their deceit, the reckoning they never saw coming. There is a rare kind of power in dismantling a lie with such clarity that it leaves no space for rebuttal, no room for denial. You didn't just respond. You obliterated. You didn't just counter. You annihilated their credibility in one bold, unyielding strike. This was no mere reaction. It was a calculated act of courage, intelligence, and unshakable belief in your own truth. Every sentence you spoke, every fact you laid bare, every piece of evidence you revealed was a hammer blow against the walls of their false empire. And the sound of those walls crumbling was the anthem of your victory. Consider the silence that followed. The void left in the wake of their collapse is not emptiness, but a testament to your undeniable triumph. Their supporters scattered, their voices faltered, their once confident claims turned to dust. You stood, not as a victim, but as a victor. You didn't just survive the storm, you became it. You didn't just endure their attacks, you transformed them into fuel for your ascent. You took the poison they tried to feed you and turned it into the venom that destroyed their standing. This moment is yours, eternal and unshakable. It takes a rare kind of strength to not only confront the darkness, but to cast it away with such finality. You did not hold still in the face of slander. You did not bow to the weight of falsehoods. You exploded through the barriers they set, reducing their influence to rubble with a force that was equal parts intellect and relentless will. This is not a story of mere survival. It is a declaration of power, a manifesto of control. In a world that often rewards silence and submission, you chose the path of confrontation and triumph. You chose to be the storm that no one could calm. Think about what this means in the larger scope of your life. When they doubted you, you showed them proof. When they underestimated you, you shattered their assumptions. When they sought to drag your name through the mud, you washed it clean in the flood of truth. This was not just an act of defense, but a radical reclamation of your identity, your narrative, your destiny. You destroyed their credibility in one move, but more importantly, you reconstructed your own legacy in the aftermath. The ashes of their falsehoods became the soil from which your power grew. Remember, this is not just about what happened. It is about what you represent now. You are the embodiment of unwavering resolve, a beacon of fearless integrity in a landscape littered with deception. You showed that truth is not fragile, but formidable. You taught a lesson to those who thought their lies would stand unchallenged. You sent a message to everyone watching. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not confuse restraint with surrender. You are a force of nature, a living proof that sometimes the most profound victories come from a single, unstoppable strike. And in this, there is something deeply poetic. The quiet before the storm is a place of gathering strength, a moment of preparation. But the storm itself, the blast that shatters everything in its path, is an event that changes everything. That blast is what you delivered. That blast is the moment where they realized that the ground beneath their feet was no longer solid. That blast is your voice, your truth, your unyielding presence manifest in action. It is a moment of reckoning that resonates far beyond the immediate, a shockwave that redefines the boundaries of power and respect. Let this moment be a reminder that you are not powerless. You are not the victim of circumstance or manipulation. You are the architect of your own fate, the warrior of your own battlefield. You did not hold still. You exploded forward. You did not wait for justice. You made it happen. You did not hope for redemption. You commanded it. You destroyed their credibility in one move, but you built something far greater, a fortress of integrity and strength that no lie can breach. This victory, raw and unfiltered, is a call to everyone who has been underestimated, dismissed, or betrayed. It is a beacon of hope and a blueprint for action. The world will throw shadows. It will challenge your truth. It will test your limits. But you have already proven that silence is not your weapon. Action is as. You have shown that one decisive moment can rewrite history, shatter illusions, and turn the tide irrevocably in your favor. This is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter where you are the author, the hero, and the legend. So stand tall in this moment. Own the power you wielded, the damage you inflicted on falsehood, and the victory you claimed. You didn't just hold still, you blasted their name to pieces, and in doing so, you destroyed their credibility in one move. Let that truth echo in your mind, in your soul, and in every step you take forward. The world has witnessed your strength. Now, live as the unstoppable force you have proven yourself to be. You see, the power you unleashed did not come from anger alone, nor from rash impulses. No, it was born from a long and quiet preparation, a simmering fire that refused to be extinguished, a calculated determination that waited for the perfect moment to erupt. This kind of power is rare because it is not born from chaos, but from clarity. You understood who you were facing, what was at stake, and how much was riding on your ability to respond with precision and force. In that moment, your voice was the hammer, and their name the fragile glass. With one well-aimed strike, the glass shattered, scattering their lies into shards too sharp to gather again. Every person watching could see it. They witnessed the fall of a giant made from nothing but smoke and mirrors. The arrogance that once surrounded their name, the certainty with which they wielded their influence, was replaced by silence, confusion, and eventually, disbelief. This is what it means to destroy credibility, to turn certainty into doubt, power into weakness, respect into fear. And you did this not by chance but by choice, not by hesitation, but by the certainty of your own truth. You made it clear that the ground they stood on was built on sand, and when the tide came, everything collapsed. It is important to understand that this moment, your moment, does not exist in isolation. It is the result of countless smaller battles fought within yourself. The sleepless nights when you questioned if it was worth the fight, the moments when doubt crept in like a shadow, threatening to swallow your resolve. But you did not let that shadow consume you. Instead, you used it to sharpen your focus, to build your strategy, to prepare for this moment of reckoning. The explosion of truth that ripped through their defenses was decades in the making, forged from resilience and steeled by persistence. Look back on all the times you felt unheard, dismissed, or underestimated. Each time they tried to pin a narrative on you, each time they whispered behind your back or cast doubt on your integrity, it was fuel. Fuel for the moment you would rise and blast their name to pieces. It is in this accumulation of pain, frustration, and determination that true power grows. You didn't simply stumble into victory. You sculpted it with your own hands, shaping the words, crafting the evidence, and timing your strike so perfectly that it left no room for escape or rebuttal. This was a masterclass in reclaiming your narrative, and every second of preparation was worth it. And what did you gain in that moment? More than just the fall of your adversaries. You gained respect, the kind that cannot be given, but must be earned through action. You gained the quiet admiration of those who had watched from the sidelines, unsure if anyone had the courage to stand so boldly. You gained the knowledge that you are not defined by their attempts to diminish you, but by the strength with which you respond. This moment was not just a personal victory. It was a declaration to the world that truth, when wielded without fear, can dismantle even the strongest walls built on lies. Yet, with great victory comes responsibility. The name you destroyed was a symbol, a representative of a larger system of deceit, manipulation, and control. Your act of blasting their credibility is a beacon to others who live in the shadow of similar falsehoods. Your example shows that silence is no longer an option, and that the power to dismantle these false narratives lies within the grasp of those who dare to speak with clarity and courage. You have set a precedent, a challenge to the world, that lies will not go unchallenged, that deception will be met with relentless truth. Do not underestimate the ripples of this moment. Just as a single explosion sends shockwaves far beyond its epicenter, your action has sent tremors through the fabric of influence and control. Others who thought themselves untouchable must now reckon with the fact that their credibility is fragile, their power conditional. This moment is a rupture in their story, a permanent scar that changes how history will remember them and how the future will perceive their name. You have changed the narrative not only for yourself, but for everyone who believes in justice, in truth, and in the power of courage. The true weight of your victory will become clearer as time passes. The moment you destroyed their credibility in one move is like a spark igniting a wildfire of change. It forces new questions, challenges old assumptions, and creates space for voices that were once silenced to rise. It is a turning point, a moment when the scales begin to balance differently, when the invisible chains of deception begin to break. And this change is not just external, it is internal, a transformation within you. You have proven to yourself the extent of your own power, your ability to influence reality, to shape outcomes, and to command respect through truth. There will be those who attempt to rebuild the shattered name, who scramble to repair the damage you inflicted. But the cracks you created run deep, fractures that will forever alter the foundation. Their attempts to restore credibility will be met with suspicion, their words weighed against the undeniable evidence you laid bare. This is the lasting impact of your action. It is not a fleeting victory, but a permanent change in perception. The fortress they once inhabited now stands in ruins, and you are the architect of that downfall. You didn't just hold still, you blasted their name to pieces, and the echoes of that blast will be heard for years to come. Now, as you stand in the aftermath, take a moment to recognize the magnitude of what you've accomplished. This is not a small feat or a fleeting triumph. It is a monumental achievement that required every ounce of your strength, intelligence, and resolve. It is a testament to the fact that the truth, when wielded with precision and courage, is an unstoppable force. And you are that force. You are the living proof that silence is not the only path, that resistance is possible, and that sometimes a single, decisive move can change everything. Hold this victory close, but do not let it be your only moment. Let it be the foundation for what comes next. The power you demonstrated is yours to wield whenever necessary, a reminder that you are never truly powerless. The name you destroyed is a symbol of what can fall when faced with unyielding truth. Use this knowledge to inspire yourself and others, to continue to challenge falsehoods wherever they appear, and to never again allow deception to go unchallenged. Your journey is far from over, but this moment marks a turning point, a new era where you hold the reins, where your voice commands attention, and where your truth reigns supreme. You didn't just hold still, you blasted their name to pieces. You destroyed their credibility in one move. Let those words resonate, fuel your future, and remind you always of the unstoppable force you are. Think about the way the world tries to cage those who refuse to fit into the mold it's crafted. They try to silence you with rumors, diminish you with half-truths, and cage your spirit with lies designed to undermine every ounce of your credibility. But what you did was refuse to be a prisoner of their narrative. You didn't just stand your ground, you tore down the walls that held you captive. You didn't just survive their attempts to break you, you exploded through them, reducing their name to nothing more than ashes on the wind. And in doing so, you shattered a system that thrives on the illusion of control and deception. This kind of victory isn't given lightly. It is forged in the furnace of endurance and sharpened by the blade of resolve. You didn't stumble into it, you earned it. Every second spent fighting against the tide, every moment you resisted the pressure to stay silent, was a step toward this inevitable breakthrough. The moment when your words struck like thunder, when their carefully woven fabric of lies unraveled before your eyes, was the culmination of a relentless journey. This wasn't luck, it was strategy, patience, and an unshakable belief in the power of your own truth. You might wonder, how does it feel to destroy something so monumental with just one move? It feels like the release of all the tension built up from years of deception and mistrust. It feels like the release of all the tension built up from years of deception and mistrust. It feels like the breaking of chains you didn't even realize were holding you back. It feels like standing on the edge of a cliff and choosing to leap, not into the void, but into the freedom that comes with undeniable victory. You didn't just blast their name to pieces. You liberated yourself from the shadow it cast over you. But be warned, this power you've harnessed also carries a profound responsibility. In a world that often values spectacle over substance, truth over illusion, you have shown what happens when integrity becomes a weapon. You have become the guardian of that weapon. Your victory is a beacon, but it also calls for vigilance. The forces of deceit will never fully disappear. They adapt, mutate, and attempt to rise again. Your role now is to remain vigilant, to keep your truth alive and sharp, ready to defend it against the inevitable attempts to rewrite the story or cast out anew. The weight of their broken credibility is heavier than you might think. It is not just the loss of respect, it is the unraveling of trust that took years to build and seconds to destroy. You dealt a blow so precise, so powerful, that it dismantled the very foundation on which they stood. And once that foundation crumbles, everything built upon it is doomed to fall. This is why your move was not just a victory for yourself, but a seismic shift in the landscape around you. You altered the balance of power, reminding everyone that no empire built on lies can withstand the assault of undeniable truth. There is a certain darkness in this kind of victory, because in destroying, you witness the fall of something that once seemed untouchable. But within that darkness, there is an incredible light, the light of justice, the light of courage, the light of liberation. You brought that light into the darkest corners, exposing what was hidden, revealing what was concealed. And now, those shadows have nowhere left to hide. Your victory is not just a story of destruction, but a story of illumination. As you move forward from this moment, carry with you the lessons learned. Understand that power is not just about force. It is about precision, timing, and unrelenting confidence in your own truth. The moment you destroyed their credibility was a masterclass in these principles. You showed that it is not enough to merely hold your ground. You must strike with intention, with clarity, and with conviction. This is how legends are made, how history is written, and how truth prevails over falsehood. This victory also changes you. It reshapes your understanding of what is possible, what you deserve, and what you are capable of achieving. You have seen firsthand that the voices that try to silence you are only as powerful as you allow them to be. You have felt the strength that comes from breaking free of their grip. This experience should fuel your future battles, remind you that silence is a choice, and that speaking out, forcefully and truthfully, is your greatest weapon. Now, imagine the ripple effects of your victory. Others who have been trapped by lies will see your example and find the courage to fight back. The defeated name you shattered will serve as a warning to those who would try to deceive, manipulate, or undermine others. Your action becomes a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope for those who have been silenced or ignored. In this way, your victory is not just personal, it is communal. It resonates far beyond you, shaking the very foundations of falsehood and inspiring a new era of truth and accountability. Remember, the path you walked was not easy. It was fraught with doubt, fear, and opposition. But through it all, you remained unshaken. You stood tall in the face of adversity and chose to fight not with petty words or empty threats, but with undeniable proof and relentless truth. This is the hallmark of true strength. This is why you didn't just hold still. You blasted their name to pieces. Because sometimes, the only way to silence the noise of lies is with a blast of unyielding truth that cannot be ignored or forgotten. Let this moment define you, not just as a survivor, but as a conqueror. Not just as someone who defends their name, but as someone who destroys falsehoods with a single, decisive move. Your story is one of transformation, from doubt to certainty, from silence to voice, from weakness to unbreakable power. And it is a story that deserves to be told, remembered, and celebrated. So rise with this power. Move forward knowing that you have the strength to face any challenge, the clarity to see through any deception, and the courage to shatter any illusion. You didn't just hold still. You blasted their name to pieces. You destroyed their credibility in one move. And that truth, that undeniable fact, will be the foundation upon which you build every future victory.